move to the room.
It's like
of
some
the-
message in that room, and you have a key to that room because we went in there.
Yeah, you can unlock this for the.
You can very easily.
Ladies and gentlemen, We Ate the Children Last, a very short story by Jan Martel. Here's what I want you to do before we even begin our discussion. The story ends on a page that has a little space at the bottom. I want you to come up with, as we did with Frankenstein, 2 essential questions. So with Frankenstein we had 6 essential questions, and this one I want you to come up with 2. These are questions that don't necessarily have a yes or no answer. These are questions that the story brings up but does not answer for you. Thought-provoking questions, 2 of them. Let's see what you come up with here. It doesn't. No, it's not the most effective. I know some of you are still coming up with your questions. I'm going to start with a question in a more general sense. I chose this story to go with Frankenstein. Having read Frankenstein, to then read this story. Who can tell me why? Science gone wrong. What seems good turns out wrong in the end. What else?
People would be considered monsters.
The creation of a monster. Something society deems a monster, and society's means of handling that monster. Anything else? On some level, there's also an intriguing narration at play in this story that we'll talk about here in just a moment. Before we do that, though, a quick primer on frame narration. So here you have your picture frame, your classic sort of example where you have something in here. And the picture frame serves 2 purposes. Purpose number 1, to showcase the picture in the center. Purpose number 2, to showcase your wealth. Because if you have a lot of wealth, you buy a massive, beautiful, ornate frame.
Yeah.
It's probably worth 4 or 5 times what goes in it.
Poster.
Yes. Yes.
What?
So
How much
there's
did you
that.
spend on that total?
I spent a lot of money on a frame.
Spent like $300.
$331.45 on a frame
Did you try to
For
hide it?
what?
to house a $45 poster
Did you try to
Why?
hide it?
What's the
Yes.
poster?
for unsuccessful.
What
And-
poster?
Like, you got peer pressured into this frame.
Okay, it wasn't peer pressure. It was a very, very unscrupulous
How do you?
woman at that place, the
Very
Hobby
good.
Lobby.
How do you handle like car
What?
shopping? Like
I
we
don't.
have 4 times better speakers.
I don't go car shopping. Because the last time I went car shopping,
You
which
ended
was
up
in the
with
year
your rose bucket?
2004. Fall of 2004 was the last time I went car shopping. Were you even alive?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Hold on,
Well,
let
I
me
know
get
you
my
weren't
birth
alive in
certificate.
'93 for Jurassic Park.
Let me pull up my birth certificate.
You gonna call me out for that?
Yeah, I'm going to call you out
Come
for that.
on.
2004, I'm in the car lot. It's in Pensacola, Florida, yes, because I went to Pensacola
I
Christian
want to
College.
know what poster
I'm with
is
my
in
wife.
the frame.
I'm with my wife.
Off campus?
We're in the car lot. I went there to buy a Toyota Camry for $5,000.
Oh no.
It was about 6 years old. There was a little rust. It's about 90,000 miles. It's fine. That's what I went there to buy. It was for my wife, my wife's car. Said, this is what we're going to buy. We've got $3,000. We'll finance the rest. This will be fine. We show up at the car lot. My wife sees the car. She says, oh. And I said, what does oh mean? Right around the time, little chubby man from inside comes out. And he's like, can I help you? Can I help you? What are you folks here? Yammering on. Right around that time, my wife says, how much is that car over there? And she points to this, glossy, shiny, silver 2002 Honda Civic. Now this was 2004. I realized 2002 Honda Civics aren't as cool anymore. 2004, it looked pretty daggone cool. The man said, ma'am, this is the car for you. This is the car that you will leave today driving because I've got a special price just for you. It's all yours for $16,500. And I said, $16,500? And he said, yes, sir, and that's discounted $2,000 off the sticker price. $2,000, just like that, just for walking on this lot. $2,000 off the sticker price, $16,500. Walk away in this vehicle right now. We left the lot that day driving that car.
Are you
Driving that car.
Okay.
We talked him down from 16.5 to 16.4.
That's
Oh my
nothing.
God.
You spent 3 times.
Hey, I realize I've got problems, man. I've got problems.
Yeah, it's
Do what
your
you
wife.
No, because she said, Steven, let's walk away and think about this. Let's walk away and think about it. And I said, no, I'm buying you this car. And he said, when I said that, he said, that's a man for you.
So,
And I was like,
Is that when he knocked off the extra $100?
so how long did it take
Who's
this
the
man
man?
to
Who's
pay
the
off the payments
man?
for that car?
But the question is,
I was
do you
doing this
still love your
in the
2002
car lot.
Honda
I was like, who's the man? Who's the man? And everyone was like, obviously not that guy. Yes, we still have it. We still drive it.
Is it great?
Along with the 99 Honda Civic.
What's up?
What's up? It's currently parked in the parking lot right here. You can check it out, folks.
Woo!
Soon to be a museum specimen. In 5 years, I'm done driving it. So,
Have you paid off the car yet?
yes.
Give it to your
How long
daughter.
did it take?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And we will never buy another car as a result of that. So, my point is this, I've got problems. So yes, I bought a frame for $330. I don't want to talk about it.
What's in the frame?
A poster.
Of what?
What poster?
It's called Hop Gathering. It's a picture of a quaint little European village gathered around pulling the hops from a tree during the hop gathering time in the fall.
Why
is
did
it
you
so
buy
important?
this?
Wow.
Does it
We.
mean something?
No, I want to know what the
Yes.
significance is.
It has a symbolic significance. It was right around the time I started home brewing, and I was really into hops and hop flavoring and hop smells, and I love the idea of the quaint, nostalgic village hop gathering. A community gathered around a purpose, getting together to gather hops. The children are there, the parents are there, the farmers, everyone's gathered around. It's a celebration, and I liked it. And I thought I could frame it for $40. And didn't know it was going to cost much money, but it did. Car's paid off. Making payments on it, so this payments on it. But we almost were. So, Hobby Lobby doesn't have financing plans. They should, if they're going to be little punks about all this. The point is this.
I
You
can't.
got the frame, you got the picture inside the frame. Now, this is our metaphor for the type of narration at play in Frankenstein. Can anyone tell me why? Why is it called frame narration? Ola knows? I'm shocked. Go ahead.
A story within a story.
Yes, it is your classic sort of, who's that annoying director who does all that crap?
Kubrick.
No,
Tarantino.
no. You know,
Kubrick.
Inception. Nolan, Christopher Nolan.
What are you
I'm gonna
talking?
make-
One
I'm gonna
movie?
take a movie with a very basic concept
Oh,
and make
yeah,
everyone
Inception.
think it's mind-bending. And then I'm gonna do it again and make it take place in outer space.
Yeah.
Wait,
What one was that?
Interstellar.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Interstellar was
Interstellar,
great.
dumb.
So
So,
the person who liked Jurassic World.
which was awesome. And you know why? Jurassic World, the director of Jurassic World did not give an interview a week before it came out and did not say, unlike Christopher Nolan, most people won't understand my film. I get that. I want the vast majority of people just to watch it for the special effects. If they don't get it, so what? Not everyone's going to get it. The Jurassic World guy didn't say that. You know
That's
why?
because they're
No
willing
one's,
to not get.
no one's going to not get Jurassic World. It doesn't
And people
pretend to
are
be
there
something
for
it's
special
not.
effects.
Interstellar, no. No. I like Matthew McConaughey. He's cute. He's better in True Detective.
I don't like.
Have you seen True Detective? Then let's stop right there, because he's awesome.
I.
Did you watch
Jason
Dallas
Cage.
Buyers Club?
Okay, that's,
Then we can
no,
stop right
that, I'm not saying he's not a good actor. I don't like him.
Did you see his Lincoln commercials?
Yeah, he's.
I did, and he was brilliant.
Yes, as Jim Carrey pointed out, rolling the booger. Hold on. Frame narration, story within a story. How does that play out in Frankenstein?
Because
Who's telling the story in Frankenstein?
Victor.
No.
Walt.
Walt.
Oh yeah, well,
But who told Walton the story?
Victor.
So this is Victor. I'll just put Vic. This is Walton. This is us. Frame narration. Walton is telling us the story, and what means is he using to tell us the story?
Historical present.
Letters
Oh.
written to what person? Margaret. Margaret Seville, his
Sisters.
sister. In other words, we have been given the ability to read the correspondence between Robert and his sister. I had a student write a paper once on how Robert liked his sister or had an attraction to her. It had no basis in the book whatsoever, but it was interesting. It's kind of like something Alec might write.
It's really the idea.
Walton is writing a letter to his sister that we are reading. In the letter, Walton says, I met this guy named Victor Frankenstein who told me this story. In other words, we are removed from the narrator 2 times. Usually we're removed just from the book itself, narrator telling us the story. But now, this is a story someone told our narrator. How does this play out in Heart of Darkness?
There's gonna have like another frame.
Yes, well, what's the frame in Heart of Darkness?
Wasn't it Marla?
Marlowe is telling the story, but who's telling us the story Marlowe told him?
Narrator.
An unnamed person on the boat with Marlowe. The book opens with 5 guys on a boat. Sounds like a joke. There's just 5 guys on a boat. Marlowe tells the story, the narrator tells us the story, Marlowe tells him. We're removed by a frame narration. And it's significant because it removes us from the action of the story, which in some ways removes us from getting at who's really telling the story. It adds almost a layer of mystery, a layer of sort of brooding possibilities on the surface, which is essential for both Frankenstein and Heart of Darkness. It's not essential for this story. In this story, it is up front, close, and personal, because on the second page, we are given the signal word, we. Look at the context here. It says, it was also heading, the telltale mark, this is the second to last paragraph, of the procedure was a scar at the base of the throat, semicolon. It was a badge we wore.
So, since this is like for the whole digestive tract, if you're getting something placed down here, why would you have a scar here for?
Because they gotta stuff it in.
So, do they stuff it through your throat though? And
Heck
is
yeah.
that like a hole in your
Alec?
somewhere?
If you wrote that down as one of your essential questions, I have more worries about you than I previously
No,
had.
no, I think it makes
No, I
perfect
didn't.
sense.
I didn't.
Because you start with, you know, the basis of your digestive system, which is your throat, you know, all the way, like, you got your lungs up front, and then you got your throat, like, back there. So then you just kind of pull that part, and everything else follows suit.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, the point is this. 2 things stand out. First person narration, as present in the first person plural. And why is the we also significant? Who's our narrator?
First person narrator.
One of the people who got the procedure.
Someone who got the procedure. That's important because it gives us a different perspective. Remember the entire point to the monster story. There is no monster unless what?
It's created.
Created and you're given, what'd you say?
It's judged by something else.
You're given a comparison. There's no monster unless there's something that's not a monster. Otherwise, there'd be no monstrous, because monstrous is a derivation from the norm. So our narrator is part of the monstrous, which is going to be significant because it's going to give us empathy for the monstrous. We, and how about the tense of the verb? We what?
Wore. past
Wore.
tense.
Past tense. Ola. Significance. Why?
Says that they don't wear it anymore.
Or it's no longer what? It's
Monster.
no longer a badge of honor. So there's a couple possibilities here. As we discover by the end of the story, what is the actual distinct possibility?
They were cannibals.
They're done. They're all gone, except for this one person who escaped. I alone am escaped to tell thee. Illusion, who's got it?
Juliet, wait,
I alone am escaped to tell thee. Who knows the illusions? Biblical
I
illusions.
fell on the cloud.
no, wait.
This is really
Is
sad.
that the
because
guy
you
from the
encounter this
town
in
that was
JB.
like, you're one?
This is
Joe.
all-
Joe.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
One person escapes from.
That's right,
Job's
one of the
house.
servants.
Yeah. I alone am escaped to tell thee. This person alone has escaped. Now, think about this idea, this premise. You take a potbelly pig intestinal system, digestive tract, you put it into a human, and all of a sudden, the human's in great health, but desires other types of food. It becomes very popular, it becomes a badge of honor, but then all of a sudden, some of the side effects, some of the disastrous things start happening, which is, old people, gone. Why? Consume. Gobble, 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 they're eaten. Then some of the women. Then, as the title suggests, the children. It's at this point that the government steps in. The government says, no, there's a huge roundup that sounds closely akin to what? Nazis. Very much following the Holocaust mentality, which is accusing the neighbors, huge scenes, huge displays, shipping people off to concentration camps.
Except this
In-
one was kind of right.
That's that, okay, hold that thought. They're shipped off. What are they not given?
Food.
Food.
For what reason?
Because they eat each other.
They'll eat each other, and that solves the problem. And thus they do. Consume each other until everyone is gone, and it's done. Except we're left with the lingering moral problem that the narrator says, which is what?
They don't talk about it.
They don't talk about it. The narrator obviously has a view on this perspective. What is his view toward the government's response?
Negative.
It's negative. I mean, he sees the government as murderers. I mean, look at your monster thing from earlier. Ola's three things. You murder, you nurture, you give away. How did the government create the monsters in this case?
At least they didn't create the monsters.
What did they do? How did the people become monsters?
They approve.
They're
They approved the procedure.
That's enabling, though, but not necessarily creating.
It's creative.
But I mean-
Alec, you suck. Alright? Get with the program.
Not the best way to win an argument, but how might you prove him wrong?
Well, without the surgery, they would not be the way that they are. If they approve it, they allow them to be changed into monsters.
They give the public the belief that it's completely okay and has benefits, and basically allow people to have it as much as they want, but if they didn't study it enough, they shouldn't have approved it.
Think about this in a different context. All of a sudden, a pill comes on the market, a miracle diet pill. And the idea behind the pill is you take the pill and it suppresses your appetite. But it has no negative health issues whatsoever. It suppresses your appetite, you're just simply not as hungry, you only eat once every 3 or 4 days, and you're in amazing health. And so even people who don't need diet pills or suppression pills are taking it simply because it does away with the messy, pesky habit of having to eat, having to cook food, make food. You can still go out to eat whenever you want, you just won't want to that much. You save money on your food, all kinds of amazing things. Pretty soon, 30% of the population is taking the pill. A month later, they discover that this pill causes some dangerous, hideous side effect. And that side effect is
Killing
Hair
people,
loss.
homicide.
what?
Hair loss.
That's not quite as severe as...
Okay. It causes hair loss. That would be our physical sign that someone's taken it, okay? It causes hair loss, but it also has led to several outbursts of dementia in a harmful manner. So some people who've taken this and taken it for a longer time than others begin acting out socially. We've had a couple mass shootings. We've had some stabbings. We've had violent episodes on the streets. It's been linked to people who have been taking this drug. The outward sign of this is they have hair loss. The government decides we need to round up everyone who's had this and ship them away somewhere.
Oh, male pattern baldness, no.
Well, there's that
You
issue.
guys go first.
There's, looking at wig, toupee manufacturers, getting names of people who've ordered them recently. There's a big roundup of people. How do we feel about that? Is it justified? These people are potentially dangerous.
There's a difference between justified and right. I think.
What's the
It
difference?
seems unfair.
Well, if somebody punches me in the face, I may be justified in punching them in the face, but it's not necessarily the right thing to do. I think there's a difference.
So would they be justified or right or either in the scenario that I just laid out?
It's a solution. I can't
Is
think
that
of
an
another
allusion to the final
solution.
solution?
Oh,
I mean, if it causes a permanent change in some of the people.
I can't.
Oh, yeah, is the change permanent, or could it be cured?
Well, they're going to round up all the people to keep them together, to keep them away from regular society. They basically created an isolation. And they'll run tests on them to see if they can figure out how to fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems as if the government didn't realize that this pill had harmful effects in the first place, they don't even realize how many people are actually affected, and they're just rounding up anyone who has baldness.
In this scenario, what if you had someone who had a surgery of some sort and had a scar somewhere on their body, and mob scene ensues, and that person's thrown into the concentration camp with everyone who had the surgery? People would say, well, it's for the greater good. Yeah, there's probably a couple of innocent people. Aren't they all innocent?
It's not their fault.
But yet they're rounded up under the guise of the greater good.
Well, there's about no other solution.
I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
they-
actually get the government to start testing something and look for a solution
So, like,
rather than
when
giving up.
It says here the government reacted, what was the word that was used? Swiftly. They didn't deliberate, they didn't take time to figure it out. It was swift, and it was in 3 days, and it involved the army descending without discrimination, locking them up. And note this, locked up without food. I mean, treated like what? Like animals or monsters? There's a lot of connections between this story and Frankenstein and a lot of essential questions present. Let me hear some of the essential questions you came up with. Who's got them?
What should be done with the people who got the surgery?
So what should have been done? What should have been done differently? That's a fair question.
Who's guilty?
Who's guilty? Who's at fault? Is it the government? Is it the people who gave the surgery? Is it the people who got the surgery? Is it the children? I mean, who knows? By the way, if you look at the title, what does the title imply inherently within the people who got the surgery?
They still have morals.
They still have morals. Why?
They beat the
Because
children
they
last.
waited, they tried to wait.
They waited as long as they could. It's not like we went after the children. We just had to, and we waited as long as we could. There's still an inherent idea or presence of morality within the so-called monstrous. Therein lies some connections to Frankenstein. Now, there are 3 issues within Frankenstein that cropped up in this morning's discussion that I want to highlight now. And they are, first of all, the idea of knowledge. Second of all, the idea of fate. And third of all, the allusions to Paradise Lost. You all were given this copy of Frankenstein, and in this copy I've got some page numbers for you where you might find some of these significant things. I'm going to run through them fairly quickly, just to throw them out there. But the first one's going to be on page 29. You don't necessarily have to follow along with all of these, but you might want to jot them down. When Robert Walton and Victor Frankenstein first have their initial conversation, and they begin talking about their desires and their dreams and whatnot, on page 29, Robert Walton tells Victor about his desire for knowledge. And Victor, it says, a dark gloom spread over basically his face. And here's what Victor says on 29. Unhappy man, do you share my madness? Have you drunk also of the intoxicating draught? Hear me, let me reveal my tale, and you will dash the cup from your lips. The intoxicating drink. What is this intoxicating drink that both Robert and Victor have tasted of?
Desire for knowledge.
Desire for knowledge, and what kind of knowledge?
You?
New, possibly forbidden, dangerous knowledge. It goes on page 39, a few pages later, to say this. This is Victor speaking. It was the secrets of heaven and earth that I desired to learn. And whether it was the outward substance of things, or the inner spirit of nature and the mysterious soul of man that occupied me, so on and so forth, it's the secrets of heaven and earth. Let me give you another one on page 46 related to knowledge. It says this: I ardently desired the acquisition of knowledge. I wanted to know. Ardent desire, fervent desire. And not just knowledge, but the acquisition of knowledge. As if knowledge is a possession that one can have, keep, and use at his or her own will. 52 goes on. 52 is a big page, and it says this. In other studies, you can go as far as others have gone before you. History, math, social sciences, social studies, English. And there is nothing more to know. But in a scientific pursuit, there is a continual food for discovery and wonder. In other words, only science, among all the other subjects, holds within it the possibilities of continued experiment and wonder and discovery. And that's kind of his point in this book, is that science is a dangerous tool. And then finally, he says this, page 54, last one for knowledge. Learn from me, if not by my precepts, at least by my example, how dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge, and how much happier that man is who believes his native town to be the world than he who aspires to become greater than his nature will allow. I repeat, how dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge. Now keep in mind,
What page is this again?
54, this is why this is significant with the frame narration. You cannot stand up here and say, Mary Shelley doesn't think you should know things. Frame narration. This is what Victor is saying to Robert Walton, that Robert Walton is saying to his sister. We are merely given a chance to glimpse into the letters that he is sharing with her, his bad experiences with the acquisition, with the acquiring of knowledge. So it goes. Now, he ties this into fate throughout. He believes he was fated to this because of the issues with his mother, because of aspects of his early childhood. He thinks there's a strong connection there. I'm going to give you a couple pages with regard to fate. First of all, on page 48, kind of where we were earlier, really 48 and 49, here's where he says this. Partly from curiosity and partly from idleness, I went into the lecturing room, which Monsieur Waldman entered shortly after. On the next page, he says this. Such were the professor's words. Rather, let me say, such the words of fate, announced to destroy me. Almost as if he's casting blame on his professor, on fate, on anything that's going to give him that desire for knowledge. He goes on the next page, page 50, to say this. Thus ended a day, this is the day where he met Monsieur Waldman, thus ended a day memorable to me. It decided my future destiny. Fate. So, knowledge and fate working against him, and then the connections to Paradise Lost. There's quite a few pages here, I'm going to jump through them. Page 108 is our first reference. This is simply where the monster has begun reading. And on page 48, halfway down, he says, it presented to me then as exquisite and divine a retreat as pandemonium appeared to the demons of hell. Okay, a very small little reference. However, Pandemonium is what in Paradise Lost? The safe haven of Satan, erected where? In hell by the devils. I can't remember if we talked about this or not. Did we talk about the word itself?
I think we did a little bit.
I don't remember doing that at all.
The word pandemonium means what?
It's like,
Madness,
all
many or all.
Is it what?
Many or all.
In our language, in English, modern English, if I say the classroom erupted in pandemonium,
chaos.
chaos. Milton invented the word. He invented it in Paradise Lost. He took Pan, world, deity, whatever, daemon, demons, created a word meaning all the demons get together here. In our society and culture, it means chaos, where the devils are gathered, pandemonium. Here the monster is saying, this seems a cozy retreat, just like pandemonium seemed for the devils. He is already linking himself to the devils or the despised. He goes on in page 130, and this is the huge one, 130 to 133. He begins questioning some things. On page 130, he says, what did this mean? Who was I? What was I? Whence did I come? What was my destination? He reads Paradise Lost, and here's what he says. Paradise Lost excited different and far deeper emotions. Many times, I considered Satan as the fitter emblem of my condition. Then he looks at Victor, the monster looks at Victor, and he says this, accursed creator, why did you form a monster so hideous that even you turned from me in disgust? Oops. God, in pity, made man beautiful and alluring after his own image. But my form is a filthy type of yours, more horrid even from the very resemblance. Satan had his companions, fellow devils, to admire and encourage him, but I am solitary and abhorred. That's the predicament. That's the situation that he finds himself in, the connections to Paradise Lost. With that being said, we are going to shift our attention away from Frankenstein for the time being and onto our research paper, which, by the way, Frankenstein could potentially work if you wanted to go back and revisit your prospectus at this point. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and, on the overhead, put up your Trinity.com submissions for the prospectus, look at some of your topics, and then transition into discussing what is needed for the next round of the research paper talk. So, here we go. Research paper